Welcome to the League of Women Voters and the Alliance for the Arts Virtual Candidates Forum. Some of the League's voter service activities include candidate forums and voter guides. This information is made available to the voting public to help in their decision-making process. The League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan organization that does not support or oppose candidates or political parties. Happy learning.
Welcome to a candidate forum presented by the League of Women Voters of Lee County in conjunction with the Alliance for the Arts. The purpose of these forums is to inform the voting public of the opinions of the candidates running for office. It's not a debate. There will be no crosstalk between the candidates. There won't be any comments from one candidate on another candidate's position. They will be given 2 minutes to open. They will be given 2 minutes to close. They will be given 1 minute to answer each question. The order of answering the questions and opening and closing is random, to be decided at the beginning of the forum itself. So sit back and enjoy. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Mary Beth Gentleman. I'm a member of the League of Women Voters of Lee County. Welcome to this candidates forum featuring the candidates running for District 2 and 3 seats on the Cape Coral City Council. All candidates running for those 2 seats were invited to participate in this forum. Let's start with our 2-minute opening statements. We'll do this alphabetically by district. So for District 2, Mr. Delahunt, would you please begin?
Hi, my name is Brian Delahunt, running for Cape Coral Council, District 2. My wife and I moved here in 2013 and left behind the cold reaches of Minnesota. We have 5 adult kids. Our 9th grandchild is on the way. I'm an Army veteran, and I've been a registered nurse for the last 28 years. I currently work at the Department of Children and Families and Adult Protection, and I cover the 5 counties of District Court Circuit 20. So I cover Lee, Collier, Hendry, Glades, and Charlotte County. I support 15 investigators out in the field, so I'm in the most vulnerable adults' homes in our counties, in our area. Outside of that, I've done a lot of volunteer work since I moved here. I was a member of the Cape Coral Police Volunteer Unit, both the Marine and Traffic Division. I'm a proud member of Cape Coral Fraternal Order of Eagles. My wife and I attend Cape Christian Church here in Cape Coral. And prior to COVID-19, my wife and I ran a weekly benefit for the Southwest Florida Military Museum and Library. And we're hoping to get that going as soon as we can gather in groups again. I'm running for 3 reasons. The number 1 reason that I'm running as a registered nurse is Cape Coral is critically short on hospital beds. So I'm running to bring a 2nd hospital to the city. And we're looking at doing that in the Northwest Cape Coral. I want to get spending under control. We need to spend on needs, not all of the wants that we've been doing, so that we can keep our tax base low, especially for our vulnerable adults and lower income families. We don't want to price them out of the city. And finally, water quality. I want to do a citywide year-round phosphorus-free fertilizer ban that's been rolled out in 11 other states. And I think it's time that we put the water quality first. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Maurer?
Thank you. My name is Todd Maurer. I moved down here with my wife and my oldest daughter in 2005 from New York City. In multiple visits down here in Cape Coral, we not only fell in love with the beauty of the city itself and the natural environment here, but the people. We found this to be a great community where people pull together and step up and take care of each other and take care of issues. And that's really something that we wanted to be part of. By profession, I currently work for Comcast Xfinity. I have a market that stretches from just south of Orlando through South Naples for sales and operations. I manage multiple teams. And in the past, I also worked with AT&T in project management, sales, and operations. I have experiences leading teams of over 400 people and budgets in over $60 million range. From volunteer experience, I was a member of the Lee County School Finance Advisory Committee, as well as the United Way Allocations Committee. And I'm also a softball coach for youth, girls youth softball out at Burton Field for a few years as well. I'm running because I've always had a passion for government and understanding how things work. And I've always wanted to continue to dive deeper and deeper into the process. Now that I have two daughters and they're both teenage age, and they're able to, one's starting to drive and I don't have as many commitments, I can really truly commit the right amount of time to this position, which I felt was very important. The issues that I really want to make sure that we tackle with us being at our halfway growth point, our infrastructure, making sure that we can get around this town and don't decrease the quality of life as we continue to grow, that our water quality improves, and that we stop having the issues that we've had with water, and that we are fiscally sound to make good decisions, and we only spend money on the things that we need to spend money on because it's your money and we owe it to you to be good stewards of that. I appreciate you listening today.
Thank you. Mr. Shepherd?
Hello, my name is Dan Shepherd. I'm running for District Council 2. The reason I'm running is I'm very passionate about our city. I've lived here now for 22 years with my wife and 6 children. I've been a business owner and operator for 35 years. So I have 35 years of budget and contract experience. What I want to bring to the community is my business experience. We need that. We have 8 council people, and I think we need more people with business backgrounds to make sure we don't have errors and mistakes on contracts and things we want to do throughout the city. But my one goal is to teach the citizens and our local government on how to accomplish things without raising taxes. One program that I have put together is the Donate a Medium program. I have been active in that for about 6-7 years and have donated medians and helped citizens throughout the city donate medians. And that's been a savings to the city of about $2 million. The city pays right now about $1 million a mile for medians. We have worked on the medium program, and the next council voting meeting, they are going to approve the new program. And what that program is going to allow is for citizens and businesses to donate medians and get a permanent appreciation sign on that median. And what that'll do is save us more tax dollars so that we have money for other needed things. My main goals are to improve our magnet. What I mean with that is when you have a business or even a community, your image and your appearance and your cleanliness is very important to bring in investors. Investors look at these things. They also look at the financial demographic of the city. That helps them decide if their business will work in your city. And I want to work on that. I want to lobby for more traffic police.
Okay.
Because with our growth, if my time is up?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Thank you.
You can pick up that thought later on in the program. Thank you. Now, we'll start with the District 3 candidates. Mr. Camarada.
Yes, thank you, Mary Beth. My name is Chris Camarada. I'm a 29-year resident here in Cape Coral. I moved here in 1991. I started my business in 1996, Jukebox Hero. It's a music business. And when I moved here, I bought a lot in Cape Coral. I believe I was 27 years old, and I'm still on that house. It's on the canal. I fell in love with this city years and years ago. The first time I came down here was 1984, actually. The business started in 96. My 2 children were born here in Cape Coral. I went to public school here. I'm married to Josephine. We're going to be celebrating 30 years of marriage in September. September 8th. I didn't forget that date. And again, Cape Coral has been my home for so long, and I just love it. It's pretty much all I know. It's the longest place I've ever lived in. And I really want to make a difference here in Cape Coral. I'm a Navy veteran. I spent 4 years in the Navy. I spent 45 months aboard the USS Nimitz. I worked on the flight deck. Okay, so that was a pretty crazy and dangerous job. I was in charge of fueling and defueling the planes. I worked at a flight deck control. Now, being involved in so many clubs and different organizations in Cape Coral, you get to know the drill after 29 years of the election cycle. and I've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly that's been happening in Cape Coral. And right now, I think the people need to be represented by someone who has their best interest in mind. And I really see that on council lately. Transparency is a big issue. You know, we want to listen to the people. We want to talk to the people, not talk at them. Okay, they need to be respected. They don't need to be called names. And some of the stuff that's been going on is terrible. So I'm going to try to change that. Work with the people. Be a voice for everybody. I know the issues. I know the drill. I've been here a long time. I just want to be a servant of the people because that's what I've been doing. So I think I could do a great job from the dais, and there will be nobody who will work as hard as a city councilman as Chris Camerata. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Hayden.
Hello to everyone, and thank you to the League of Women Voters for having us today. My name's Tom Hayden. I'm a city council candidate in District 3. I really believe my 41 years as a journalist, 23 of those at the News Press, where I interviewed and talked with hundreds of people, from residents to government leaders to business leaders to environmentalists, those that had nonprofits, advancing their issues, creating solutions, has prepared me for this next step to become a Cape Coral City Council person. I came to this community in 1996 from Pittsburgh and immediately fell in love with the character of the community, the people. You immediately saw it was a giving community. You fell in love with the environmental treasures, the 400 miles of canals. You saw a growing community at the time when I first came here. The Midpoint Bridge was just opening to handle the traffic that was going back and forth. And, you know, we know we have challenges. We know we have needs that need to be met for a community that's only about 44% built out and has plenty of room to improve. And I think based on that, my focuses or my three main issues are sidewalks. For one, only 9% of our major and local roads have sidewalks at this point. We know that Florida constantly leads the country, and Lee County constantly leads the state in the number of pedestrian fatalities. So honestly believe that if we're able to improve that percentage of sidewalks over the next 10 years through public donations, through grants, through general fund money, that we can make our community safer. Obviously, water quality will always remain a top issue for this community with our canals. Continuing to have a strong voice at the table with our state, local, county, and federal leaders to make sure our funds are there. So those are two of them, and attainable housing, again, is a third. So thank you.
Thank you. And Mr. Kilrain.
Thank you. Good morning, all. I'd like to thank the Lee County Women Voters for hosting this event. I'm Joe Kilrain, Cape Coral Council District 3 candidate. My wife, Pat, and I moved to the Cape about 15 years ago. Pat's a registered nurse. We're married. We'll be 48 years in August. We have 4 adult daughters and 5 grandkids. My educational background includes advanced degrees in chemical engineering and business. I'm not a politician. This is my first official race. I am an experienced businessman with hard-earned expertise in running and building businesses of all types and sizes, from entry-level to CEO of world-class chemical, oil, and gas to small business entrepreneur. As to key areas of focus, public health and safety are always primary responsibilities of government. Health service access, education, and water quality fall right at the top with them here in the Cape. Our local economy is tied to all. The Cape's economy is small business. Tourism, hospitality, entertainment, the building trades, they're all our cash cows. Keeping the Cape affordable by alleviating the 92% resident tax burden remains a decade-old unanswered challenge. It'll take expertise, vision, and leadership to change that. As you contrast each of our backgrounds, look beyond the superficial sound bites with a focus upon experience and expertise in pursuing what's best for the Cape. I think the choice will be clear. I invite you to my website for more in-depth details on all my positions, kilrainforthecape.com. Pat and I love it here. I would love to be able to contribute and continue to participate in making this a great place. I followed city matters and council for many years and observed that an adequate good dose of common. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, why don't we move to our questions? You have 1 minute each to respond to the same question. And we'll start again with Mr. Dillon. Why are you running for office, and what would you say is the primary thing you want to accomplish?
So, as a registered nurse, my wife and I both are nurses. When we moved here, we almost chose a different city because we realized that right now we're 210 beds short of what Cape Coral needs to meet its hospital beds. Right now, if you need to be transported to the emergency room, a lot of times you have to be taken to Health Park or Gulf Coast Medical Center because Cape Coral's too full or doesn't have adequate space in the emergency room. To me, that's life-threatening. It's a critical issue. And I was told that it was an economic or a political football to add another hospital to the city. And when I was told that, that's when I decided to run. So my primary reason for running is to bring a much needed second hospital, second emergency room with an interventional radiology program to Cape Coral so that we have what we need here for our safety. Thank you.
Thank you. And Mr. Maurer?
Thank you. For me, with two teenage daughters, we're going to come to the point where they're going to go off to college at some point in the next few years. And I really want to work hard to help Cape Coral be a place where when my daughters go off to school, they finish with their degrees, that they have a place to come back to where there's good jobs, where they can live somewhat affordably, right? So get into a home and start their life. And then generationally, settle in, then have children and just continue that on, instead of raising them here and then them not necessarily seeing opportunity and then not coming back. That's very important to me. Now, how do we accomplish that? Attracting businesses into the area, growing businesses in the area, but we have to make sure that we're building out proper infrastructure, finishing the UEP, making sure that the roads and connectivity are proper to maintain quality of life. And that also helps attract businesses to the area because they'll feel supported. And it shows that we're an organized city that can get things done.
Thank you. And Mr. Shepherd?
I want to make sure that we maintain the magnet that drew us all here, the reason we all moved here. Things that I've noticed over the 22 years that have changed is public safety. We hear a lot more on TV about car accidents and people hit on bicycles and motorcycles. And I want to push for more traffic police so that we can control that before it gets worse. The other thing that I've been working on for about 3 years now is an additional hospital in the Cape. I've been voicing my concerns at council meetings for the last 3 years because our hospital is overcrowded even when it's not season. And I know from all the time I spend in council meetings that for a process like that to take place, if they were going to break ground today, it would take 5 to 6 years. So this is very, very important. And we all as citizens and people that do get in office, we really need to push for that. That is very important. If the hospital is overcrowded, they're going to send you over the bridge, and 10 or 12 minutes can decide your life. The other thing I want to work on is infrastructure.
Okay. Thank you very much. Now we'll turn to the District 3 candidates. Mr. Camerata.
Same question. Okay. Thank you. Well, the biggest issue I believe in the Cape, one of the big issues is the UEP. We must finish the UEP. We started it. It's going in the right direction. There's been a lot of hiccups, and we've learned a lot from it. And that's one of the reasons why we have to continue this. It's so important to the Cape. The more we finish our infrastructure, the more businesses and the people will be here. We take sewers and sidewalks for granted in New York City, Chicago, Philadelphia, any big city like that. But down in the Cape Coral, we're only 50 years old. And we have to decide what we want to be, a bedroom community or a vibrant destination city. I'm also big on putting a working man on council. Okay, I'm not happy with some of the people that we have on there, and we need somebody who's going to be a a voice for everyone, not just somebody. I'm an outsider. I'm not an insider. So if you're looking for an insider who knows and hangs out with most of these people, it's not me. It's not Chris Cameron. I am truly an outsider. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And Mr. Hayden?
Thanks, Mary Beth. I'm running because I have a passion to make a difference. I really believe that I can move topics forward. And as I mentioned earlier, my main priority is sidewalks. We had a young girl that was killed last year waiting for a school bus. And I think that kind of brought into focus that we have safety issues that must be addressed now. Now you can look at the total budget package for sidewalks on both sides of the roads, on major and local roads, and see that it's $2.4 billion. You know, of course, that's a huge number, but I think over a 10-year period, if we can secure the funding more than what we have now, I don't believe we're investing enough, then we can at least make inroads on, and having sidewalks on at least one side of those major roads at least provides somewhat of a safe difference for people. So that'll be a main focus for me early on as a council member.
Thank you. And Mr. Kilrain?
Thank you. My intent is to really focus on the philosophy at council and to make sure that really we have a very good approach to doing the smart development that's needed here. We are at a very critical stage, and we have a lot of challenges with the platted community in doing smart development. But if you create the right philosophy, and it's beyond just the everyday normal activities of council, that we pass a lot of ordinances, we get tied up in that ordinary stuff. It's really creating the vision and making sure that the culture starts to get developed, so that every time that we do something within council, we really focus on what is keeping the eye on the prize of building it the correct way. And along the lines of what Dan was talking about, we got to promote those type of activities that make us a magnet and reinforce our investment in those. And that's the kind of mentality that I bring to the table, and I'm very capable of creating consensus for that.
All right, thank you. We'll move to a second question, and for this, I'm going to ask Mr. Maurer to start off answering. You all have talked about, what you would like to do, some of your priorities. But what are, in your mind, some of the greatest challenges facing the city and this office in particular in 2020?
Well, I think one of the challenges we're going to have is, as we start to take a look at the budget, what the COVID effects are on the budget go forward, and any shortfalls that we're going to have in there. And obviously, one of the keys, one of the great things about Cape Coral is that it's remained relatively affordable over time. Yet we have all of these things that we have to accomplish over the next, and it's not just a 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 year plan. I really want us to start to look at things, in the 20, 30, 40 year time frame, and then build our project timelines backwards from there. But how do you get things over the finish line without doing something like raising taxes, right? Being good fiscal stewards. So there's always that balance of how to get things done without putting additional burdens on the public. But I think through creativity and through being efficient and working through projects well, and really digging in to the pieces that make a project run, there's a lot of savings that can happen by doing that.
Thank you. So Mr. Shepherd, what do you think the challenges are?
One of the biggest things is raising the financial demographic across the city, and we need higher paying jobs. By adding a second hospital, that'll bring a lot more high paying jobs into the city, and that'll help us out on our taxes. When it comes to taxes, any house that is built under $260,000 approximately doesn't really support our services. And right now we don't have enough commercial. So there are the two items that we need to work on. We need more commercial businesses to build our tax base, and as well as we need more higher end housing. That's going to be the most important things. We need to pay our bills, and we need to do it without raising taxes. But if we build out properly, we won't have that problem. And that's why I said earlier, it's all about our magnet. It's all about our appearance. It's all about what we draw to Cape Coral, and we need to draw dollars here. And that's what needs to be done. Thank you.
Thank you. And Mr. Hayden?
Yeah, I think one big challenge is voice. I think it's making sure now that the county and the state understands that we're a major player in the city. We're the 8th biggest city in the state now, and we have a lot to contribute. You know, we're going to face our challenges as a growing city as we go through the next 50 years. From the first 50 years of needing attainable housing, making sure it's affordable to live here, making sure our first responders, our teachers, all the people that want to live in Cape Coral to enjoy the advantage of our city can afford to live here, and it's not taking up more than 30% of their income. But I think that all goes to working collaboratively with all the different agencies that impact our community to make sure our needs are being met as we grow and become and are the major player in Lee County in terms of what we can control and what we can't control.
Thank you. And Mr. Kilrain?
Sure. Well, I guess I focus on a rising tide raises all boats. And basically, a lot of the things that we do have so much to depend on with respect to the financial wherewithal of the community. To be able to highlight those assets that we do well here, for instance, police, fire, and the charter school system. They're very good magnet and attraction points, and we live in Paradise, great recreational area. In addition to that, you double down in investing in those and continue to invest in those to make them even better. As far as the other issues with respect to attainable housing and that type of thing, we have 129,000 total parcels available in the Cape, of which 75,000 are built out. There's only 54,000 left to build. That tells you that we have to look at vertical multi-unit developments to be able to meet the attainable housing piece. And we have to do that in a smart way. So there are the challenges that the pre-platted community provides to us, but they're overcomable.
Thank you. And Mr. DeLunt?
Well, I think for the challenge of the council right now is we need to reestablish trust and transparency with the residents of the city. I think that we need to start by adding back the monthly meeting that was taken away 2 years ago so that we're meeting every Monday. That allows for shorter agendas and the ability to have issues that allow further discussion by residents so that their voices are being heard. I also think that council members need to return emails, that they need to be available. So I will have some set office hours that they'll be able to find me in the office. And I think those challenges are not really unattainable, but it's more of a service issue. I want to treat residents with respect, and I'm hoping to earn their respect and their vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Camerata?
Thank you, Mary Beth. Okay, there are many challenges here in Cape Coral. I mean, we're pre-platted. We don't have an airport. We don't have an exit from I-75. We need another hospital. I mean, there's plenty of challenges. The UEP, transparency, but where some people might see, chaos, I see opportunity for leadership on City Council. That's what I saw, and just get the job done. Instead of attending board meetings and this meeting, come in, hands-on, and get the job done. That's what the citizens are paying for. That's what they elected you for. The citizens elect the council. The council doesn't elect the citizens. There's so much opportunity for leadership in Cape Coral at this present time that they step up to the plate and get the job done. And that's exactly what I intend to do. I truly do. That's not just somebody yanking on your leg. This is what I'm going to be. This is what I'm going to do. Thank you.
Thank you. So we'll move on to our next question, and I will ask Mr. Shepherd to kick us off on this one. In terms of investments in economic development and infrastructure, how would you approach those investment decisions with an eye towards equity and equality, including serving underserved neighborhoods? How would you go about that planning process?
Well, I believe that money should go towards blighted areas first, and areas like our downtown, where infrastructure needs to be completed so that we can become a magnet for build out there. We also have the old golf course that has been sitting there for many years. I am been pushing for years that the city buy that and build a botanical gardens. That is an investment that'll have a return. If you look at the Naples Botanical Gardens, it literally brings in millions of dollars a year to the community. So that would create a magnet towards our city, at the same time bring revenue. It would also influence other businesses to move in downtown. So, you know, it's not how much you spend, it's how much you spend it. And every dollar you spend has to have a return. And that's why I'm a successful person in business. When I spend money for my businesses, I only spend money when I have a guaranteed return. And that's the type of decisions that need to be made.
Thank you. Mr. Camerata.
Okay, the question was about equity and bringing jobs and growth into the city, I believe. So it's very simple. I mean, the Cape Coral in the last few years have been taxed. The FSA tax, the personal service tax. We passed in the half-cent tax for the Lee County School Board. All these taxes that we got to stop taxing our citizens. That's what's they're not going to come down here. We have public safety, yes. We have a great fire department, police department. But get the government off your back and out of your pocket, and let the people use their money, and they will. Let the people use the money. That'll grow. The growth will pay for growth. Okay, as long as we stay out of the way. Yes, we could regulate and we could lead with leadership. Okay, but we've been taxing the citizens of Cape Coral for too much for too long, and I think that's got to stop. And it will, if growth will let growth pay for growth. Thank you.
So thank you. Mr. Hayden, how would you approach economic development and infrastructure investments relative to underserved communities?
Yeah, I think with the underserved communities, we have to make sure that the city is doing a good job providing them the information that they need so that they have the resources available to them. We have to be able to present educational opportunities to them. We know there are hundreds of workforce needs, specialty needs for our larger corporation, to make sure there's education opportunities available for those that want those. We can continue our discussions with the universities and the colleges about bringing their resources here, using some of our existing space to set up classrooms, and then conducting classes that will, I think, help people improve their lives and get into careers that that they might be interested in. I think that would go a long way into helping those communities and bring some economic light to some of the tough situations that we face here at being only 8% commercial.
Thank you. And Mr. Kilrain.
Sure. Again, I'd like to focus on the overall prosperity of the community. And if everyone becomes more prosperous, that there's more available for the underserved. If you look at the way that we build our budgets and the overuse of consultants, almost every opportunity it has, we've been sending out to a consultant. I'm not in favor of doing that to the wholehearted extent that we do it right now. There's a lot of waste and loss that could be recouped from that. And we take that money that's saved, that conservative approach on how we do things, and then readdress the underserved areas. In particular, some of the key areas are education. Education is the pathway to societal upward mobility. We continue to focus on those opportunities in building both our K through 12 and also some secondary schools and trades. And don't forget about the trades, because that is a wonderful opportunity here. So again, focus on the business element and it'll all come forward.
Thank you. And Mr. Delahunt.
So the area of the Cape that's affordable is the north and northeast and northwest upper areas of the Cape. And those areas have yet to have the UEP put in place. And I really think that the city needs to do a better job of UEP contracts. Number one, there needs to be deadlines. But number two, the residents in the latest UEP had a penalty tax if they couldn't prepay. That was about $6,800. And then the city is paying 1% tax, but they're having the citizens pay 5% every year and charging a yearly collection fee. So we really, to keep it equitable and keep those homes affordable in the North Cape, as we bring those UEPs forward, we need to make sure that we're not outpricing the home availability for some of our lower income residents. And I think we've done a poor job, and that's something I'm looking forward to changing going forward. Thank you.
All right, and Mr. Maurer.
Thank you. You know, I think this also fits into that whole concept that I discuss often about having an overall or an overarching plan, an idea of what we want Cape Coral to be into the future. You know, is this a tourist destination? Is it an affordable city? Is it a high-end city? We really have to work through just what exactly we're going to be from the time you come over the bridge to the time you go out maybe on the other side of Birdsville Road, north and south. The idea is that we have to comprehensively address all areas of the Cape and bring all ships up with the tide. So if we have areas like downtown, there's some money that's been put into that. Continue to grow that. Continue to grow the north part. Finish up our UEP projects, and just continue to improve every part of the city, and they'll all come up together, and that'll improve values of the homes. It increases opportunities. More businesses come in. And real strong utilization of things like the charter schools, which is an asset we already have, will help from the education standpoint as well.
Thank you. We'll move to a new question, and we'll start with Mr. Camerata. As a city councilor, what role do you think the city council should take relative to two issues, affordable housing and homelessness?
All right, you said affordable housing is the first step.
Yep.
We'll talk about that here. I'm not a proponent of the micro cottages or tiny houses as they used to be called. I think the density in the area is not going to do Cape Coral good. We have enough problem in infrastructure, roads crowded. If we put more people in crowded areas, values are going to go down. The real estate people are going to have a hard time trying to sell these places because they're so small. I think it's going to cause congestion. So I'm not a proponent of micro cottages or tiny houses, as they used to be called. Okay, there's a lot of things that we could do, that we could work with the banks and first-time owner. I'm a proponent of duplexes for a first-time owner, as long as they're zoned in the correct area. Now, if people want to buy a duplex as a first home owner, that's a perfect way to get into that without getting into debt. So that's my view on that. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Mr. Hayden.
Thanks, Mary Beth. I've talked a little bit about attainable housing, so I'll start with the homeless first. A lot of people in the city don't realize that there are homeless in the city, and it is a significant issue for us when you have 100 or 200 people that remain homeless in our community. So I think it's continuing the discussion and the conversation with our nonprofits, with funds that might be available through our government programs to continue to reach out and assist these folks in getting the help that they need, whether it be finding them a place to live, giving them opportunities to connect with nonprofits and JobLink to look at resources that are available to them. But I think with any community as it grows, there's always a homeless situation, and it must be addressed. It can't be ignored, and I think those are steps that that we can take to help out that portion of our population.
Thank you. And Mr. Kilrain.
Thank you. Just from an attainable housing standpoint first, basically, again, a solution to that would be to look at multi-unit vertical and do those in an efficient manner. It's really an opportunity. If we came up with some efficient building capabilities that set us apart in being able to deliver good amenities with those, that starts taking care of the attainable base. We have only 20 apartment houses in Cape Coral that would handle more than 20 units. And that we have to really improve upon that. We need 90,000 households. We only have 54,000 lots. available now. As far as homeless, really Lee County controls the purse strings from the HUD money standpoint. Our charitables do an excellent opportunity with that. And sometimes in the winter, we have up to 500 people in the homeless area. So working and to be more uniform and accessing the Lee County finances through those charitables and with those charitables, reinforcing them is key to the homeless issue. And mental health is a big problem there too, that we have to be able to have a mechanism to getting them to the right support group for that.
Thank you. Mr. Dillon.
So this is an area I work in every day through my job in adult protection. Homelessness, a lot of times, is accompanied with chemical dependency or mental health issues. I really think that the council needs to give Police Chief Newland the tools using social workers and mental health providers to assist his officers in doing proactive policing in the homelessness and hooking those individuals that are willing to accept services up for the services that the county does have available. I place homeless veterans all the time in Punta Gorda because they have a wonderful charity that does housing for them. I just think that Chief Newland has some good programs, and we just need to make sure that we keep those funded. As far as affordable housing, we have to make sure we're spending money right. A 90-year-old only gets $650 a month. So when we raise taxes $15, they have to choose between medication and food.
Thank you. Mr. Maurer?
Thank you. For attainable housing, as Mr. Kilrain pointed out, and I agree, I mean, vertical is going to be an important part of the strategy, as we go forward and we increase our population here. I don't see a need for massive towers of housing, but there was a study that was put out at the end of last year, an internal report, if I'm not mistaken, that pointed to the need for somewhere in the range of 1,800 additional apartment type units each year over the next 4 years. I mean, that's significant in order to support the growth curve, and we're going to have to address it. We can't run away from it. So, we're going to have to decide on it and really accept the fact that we're going to need some of that. And to the homelessness piece, it should be not brushed under the rug. We have to address it head on. Departmentally, there should be a liaison that handles that and reports back through the city manager to council on progress, and that we are really engaging all the different community charities and organizations so that we can help with their situations.
Thank you. And Mr. Shepard?
As far as low-income housing, the only answer to that is up. We're not going to get the pricing any lower on material costs. We have starter homes now that are at rock bottom that couldn't possibly be built any cheaper. As far as homelessness, we need to invest in mental health. We have some mental health issues. But my approach is different. The city is a business, and when you constantly play defense, you're looking for answers to problems. What we need to do is focus on playing offensively. By playing offensively, we have to create jobs, better paying jobs, and that helps a lot of the problems that we're talking about right now. And that's why in business, playing offensively is the way to go, not to be constantly playing defense. Thank you.
All right, thank you. We'll move to a new question, and I'm going to ask Mr. Hayden to start off on this one. It's kind of a two-part question. What issues would you address with the police department, and do you support civil citations and other diversion programs for juveniles, and how about adults?
Yeah, I think if education and if help, if counseling, whatever it might be, is more significant to help that person improve his or her quality of life than incarceration. We know our facilities are our biggest mental health institutions, and the people there aren't getting the help that they need. So yes, citations. If a person has committed a crime but can be helped in a way that can improve themselves, then rather than going to jail where they may not get the help. Absolutely. Mary Beth, what was the other part of that?
What issues would you address with the police department?
Yeah, I think it's just continuing with transparency and accountability with them. Making sure they're an accredited departments with some of the things we have that we're not facing and that they have in other communities. But I think continuing communication, neighborhood programs is important.
Thank you. So, Mr. Kilrain, issues with the police department, and how do you feel about civil citations and diversion programs?
Sure, thank you. Well, first of all, the Cape Coral Police Department is stellar. They are probably one of the top departments in the state of Florida, if not the whole United States. They're nationally accredited as well as state accredited. Their accreditation includes operations, forensics, and dispatch. It's one of the leading accreditations. They review things. And again, there may be a bad apple every once in a while that occurs in policing, but we have a lot to be proud of with what our Cape Coral department does. And I would double down on the resources to them. I would push on the training facility. I invest all we can in technology, proactive technology, to have them in the right places at the right times. With respect to juveniles, treatment of them, we allow our law enforcement the discretion to use those citations when possible. It's in place right now, and we do a very good job of it. So I think that just keep it the way it is, and I'll just enforce it and keep our accreditations up and our standards up just as they are. They're stellar.
Thank you. And Mr. Delahunt.
So, Chief Newland, I was a police volunteer unit member for a couple of years, and I have to tell you, I'm impressed by our police department and his leadership. So I don't see any issues that need to be addressed right now with our police. I think they are stellar. I was a registered nurse both at the county level, the state level for juveniles, and the state level for maximum security prisoners. And I absolutely agree with the use of diversion in juvenile and adult defendants, that especially if they have mental health issues. I think that it's better to treat them outside of a prison than inside of a prison, especially our juveniles. That's a mark that goes against them for the rest of their life. So even if they turn their life around 2 years from now, they're still going to have that behind them every step. So diversion is a wonderful program to allow a second chance, as long as it isn't some kind of physical injury to someone.
Thank you. And Mr. Maurer.
First, thank you to the Cape Coral Police Department. They do an outstanding job every single day. We're one of the safest cities around. It's really a blessing to live here and to know that we can travel around and walk the streets and feel safe every day, in very large part because of them. I don't know that I see any wholesale change that's needed. I think continued training is always good, and that's true of any public position as well as private position. And we have to make sure that they have the gear, the resources, the training facilities in order to continue to hone their skills and become even better at what they do. So I'm a very strong supporter of that. As far as citations and such, I do support that, because if you look at the recidivism rate of people that go to prison, for example, you're looking in the 40 to 60% range of them that are rearrested within an 8-year time frame. And if counseling can help for nonviolent crime specifically, I would be in full support of that.
Thank you. And Mr. Shepard.
I believe, is my mic on? Okay. I believe we have an awesome police department. They do a fabulous job. The only thing that I would like to see take place is to have officers that are in the same areas of the city all the time. What I mean by that is to have local beat cops that build relationships with certain neighborhoods, get to know the children, form relationships, form respect. That is something that's needed in our country an awful lot. We need to teach children and people to respect each other. And I think by more interaction and more working together in the community, having children and adults seeing the same police officers in their neighborhood to build that relationship, I think will have a big change. As far as helping people that have been incarcerated, I believe in investing in programs that can help them maybe get counseling and help in finding out what the problems are and help them resolve them to put them on a better future. Thank you.
Thank you. And Mr. Camerata.
Thank you. First, we're talking about the police department. Okay, number one, the police department. I mean, when you watch stuff on TV, what's going on in the police department, besides being frustrated, it brings a tear to your eye how the police officers are being treated. I mean, whatever the police officers are making, it's not enough, okay, to be treated like this. I respect the police department. Cape Coral is one of the safest cities in the country. And the citations, people get citations, they say, well, I'm not going to go to Cape Coral and break the law. That's the whole point. Please don't come to Cape Coral and break the law because we have a great police department. So our juveniles, we have so many retired people here that can mentor the juveniles, the programs we could start. They're like sponges. We could teach them immensely. What's lacking? Leadership for these programs. I mean, I will take the juveniles and the programs, whether it's camping, electrical, plumbing, teach them right, like they should be taught. Thank you.
Thank you. So we've come to part of the program for your closing statements. And recall you have 2 minutes each for your closing statements. And we'll start in reverse order with Mr. Kilrain.
Okay, thank you. First of all, thank you very much for hosting us today. And I think that you can see that I'm very proud of my colleagues. I think that we're all very strong people and very committed to what we do. As you look for contrast, I'd like you to focus on the depth of experience and the depth of leadership that's involved. My career, I got a lot of tools in the toolbox. I love the Cape and have the capability of bringing those toolbox, all those tools in the toolbox to the forefront in a role on council. Of particular importance is the key is being able to build consensus among council members. I've done that my entire career. I've sat on many boards. I've sat on many positions in which the challenge to bring consensus was a lot greater than Cape Coral Council. And it's a matter of creating the right type of leadership. Council sees enough opportunities and challenges to choke an elephant. They're into the routine day-to-day business of passing ordinances and taking care of all of the issues of the day. But there's a level of responsibility and capability and leadership that goes much beyond that. It's the vision setting, it's the culture setting. And unless we create that type of environment and live it and walk it and talk it, it's not going to get permeated down to the culture of the city. What we have to do is have a council that really abides by what they believe in and follows that and creates the leadership to do that, creates the culture down through city management and everyone else. If we really feel that this challenge to bring business in here is real, and I certainly do, I've done it all my life, that's the key thing. And that ship will raise a lot of boats, and this city needs it. I feel capable of bringing it to the city. And my leadership, I think, would be very profound in doing that.
Thank you. And Mr. Hayden.
Thank you, Mary Beth, and thanks again to the League of Women Voters for having us today. It's been incredibly enjoyable. HaydenforCapeCouncil.com is my website where you can learn a little bit more about me, what I'm about, what my issues are. You know, we're going through an incredibly difficult time now as a community and as a nation. Emotions are raw. There's issues that people can't put their hands around. They can't understand about what's going on. And that's where I think it takes someone in this seat that has a calm about them, has a reasonable approach to things, has the ability to listen, to engage in conversation, to engage in debate, and do it with a level of respect that they know that that person is paying attention to their needs and their desires and what they're feeling right now. And I think throughout my career, I've done that at the highest levels, and people know that about me. They know they can respect my viewpoint and that I'm going to respect theirs. And I think that's important for anyone that sits in the seat as a city council member, especially during this time. You know, the city is going to continue to face its challenges, and I can believe I can help improve some of those. I think my depth of experience as a journalist and community builder has been proven and is strong. And my work on the nonprofits, my work throughout the community at the state and at the federal level has, with different people in leadership positions, has been important in forming who I am and will help me in this job as I move forward. So again, HaydenforCapeCouncil.com is my website. And if anyone has any questions, please call me. My number's on the website. We'll be glad to meet with you, talk with you about any issues that you might have so that you can get to know me a little bit better. And again, thank you for your time.
Thank you. And Mr. Camerata.
Okay, thank you to the League of Women Voters for having us here today. My best friend is a woman, my wife, for 30 years. I had to get that out there. Folks, what do you want from your city councilman for Cape Coral? What am I going to bring to the table? What's different? Okay, I mean, there's so many things. I'm an outsider. I haven't just sat on boards or attended meetings. I'm a doer. I'm in the trenches with the people. I know them. I've been involved in the military museum, countless hours of volunteering for the city and the clubs for the last 15, 20 years. Okay, and it reminds me when I first came back here in 1984, when I first came down to Cape Coral and I flew into Southwest Florida Airport, and they had a sign outside that said, "Welcome to the new land of opportunity." Okay, think about that, the new land of we still have that today. Okay, Cape Coral is a great place. The canals, the sunshine, the people. Yes, we have our issues. We have some drawbacks as far as pre-platted, and the population is growing. They're coming down here. People are flocking to Cape Coral daily to escape the craziness from up north. Okay, what's going on in the cities? So what I'm going to do for you is actually somebody who shows up, not just to go along to get along. I'm going to be doing the work for you. You're going to have a voice for a change on the city council. Someone who's into transparency. Someone who will talk to you, not at you. I will honor your opinion. I will respect it. And when you ask me, can I help you with a problem, I'm there. I'm a doer. That's what I do. I get things done. It's something that we haven't had on Cape Coral for a long time. And that's going to show up and collect a paycheck and look the part. I'm going to play the part. I'm going to be getting my hands dirty on Cape Coral, working with you, the community, the peoples. It's the CapeVotesForChris.com. And again, Chris Camerata, I want to be a voice for all the people. Thank you very much for having us today. I appreciate it.
Thank you. And Mr. Shepard.
I want to thank everybody for this opportunity. I just want everybody to know to please vote for Dan Shepard. I have 6 children from kindergarten to college. I have my oldest child is an RN. My second oldest is a U.S. Marine, and my wife is an RN at the Cape Hospital. Mm. But most important thing right now is your vote. And how do you decide your vote? And it's very easy. Who do you want spending your dollars? I win. I spend dollars properly. I have proven success with business. I only spend dollars to bring back dollars. That's what it's about. It's not about speeches. It's not about all these other things. It's about the dollars in your pocket. I will protect the dollars in your pocket to get the biggest bang for your buck. And my goal is to elevate the city of Cape Coral. And I have higher expectations for our city and for all of us. And I have a lot of skin in the game. My whole family's here. I can relate to all the families in Cape Coral. I have children in every grade. I have children out of school. I am the one that you need representing you and your wallet. Thank you.
Thank you. And Mr. Maurer?
Thank you so much for having us today. It's really an honor to be able to participate in this process, and the fellow folks that are running for office are just a great group of people. We've been able to exchange ideas multiple times now, and I feel like I'm in very good company. My vision for Cape Coral, I want the Cape to be the greatest place to live, to work, to play, and to retire. And there's lots of things that go into that. Life here should be easy to get around. There should be opportunity, both economically and education-wise. There should be access to homes to start off, and then as you improve in your job situation, that you can promote up into larger and larger homes over time. When you look at a candidate from an experience standpoint, you're going to want somebody, I would think, or I know I would, that listens to all the different sides that come to the table, actually studies the information and the data that's in front of them, reads all the materials, and then comes to a decision that they feel is the best for the Cape as a whole. That's what you have in me. That's what I've had to do my entire career. I've had to look at very complex sets of data and make decisions that affected many people. I'm committed to protecting your dollars, to spending dollars wisely, and prioritizing all the things that we do as a city to make sure that we're doing the very most important things first. And then we can prioritize our nice to haves and our kind of nice to haves, right? This all ties into having a much longer term plan that I mentioned earlier. From the time you drive over the bridge to the time you leave the Cape, we should have an idea of what we want this city to be. And again, for me, it's to be the best city to live, to work, to play, and to retire. I hope you vote for me. I'll talk with anybody, anytime, Zoom, text, email, phone, www.votefortodd.com. I look forward to speaking to all of you, and thank you so much for listening.
Thank you. And now, Mr. Delahunt.
Thank you, Mary Beth and the League of Women Voters of Lee County for putting on this forum. I have a website, Vote Brian Delahunt for CapeCoral.com. I have a Facebook site, and it has all of my contact information, and I'm willing to talk to anyone at any time. I was actually having phone calls last night from individuals at 11:30 p.m., so don't feel afraid to reach out. I'm an Army veteran. I respect veterans, and I respect the veterans that are in our community that are vulnerable, that need us to spend their money wisely. But I'm also a nurse, and a nurse can't lie to their patients, and we have to give them all options. And I am looking at this council run almost the same way I look at how I try to be a professional nurse every day. I think trust and transparency are the two most important things that you can seek in a council person. And what I mean by that is, I won't tell you one thing in a meeting and go change my mind if I've really settled, but I'll also tell you that I'm still investigating if I am. So I'm going to be honest with you. Transparency. I'm going to have office hours. I'm going to have email returned to you and not threaten you in emails. I mean, I want to be the person on the ground that's able to support every resident, from our most vulnerable that I deal with on a daily basis in my normal job, all the way to the most elite living on the river that may have different issues than somebody in the Northwest Cape or in the Northeast Cape. So even though we're assigned to a district, this is a vote at large. So make sure that you're voting for every district available. And I'm trying to earn everyone's vote. So if you live in one of those other districts, again, I'm running for District 2, but feel free to reach out. Again, it's Vote Brian Delahunt for CapeCoral.com. Thank you. And thanks again, Mary Beth.
Well, you're welcome. And on behalf of the League of Women Voters of Lee County and the Alliance for the Arts, I want to thank each and every one of you candidates for spending the time today to share your thoughts on what you would do if elected. As you well know, the primary is Tuesday, August 18th. And we wish good luck to all of you. Thank you.